excited to see what it's like to work in a completely different language with a larger group of people. Last time we had a small group, we had 8. This time we have 11. And we also have 2 additional developer coaches helping out, which is so awesome and helpful.
I've always liked pairing with other developers on an individual level, but now thinking about how do I help all 11 folks step into and learn this material, how do I not give the answer? How do I point them in the right direction or ask the right kinds of questions? These are really interesting challenges for me, and it's ones that I haven't had to think about before.
I'm really excited to see all of these apprentices as they like get their feet underneath them and they start realizing what they can do and like starting to build confidence behind them and they start doing cooler and cooler things, and then they're gonna go like work at Ford, and every time I see them they're gonna be doing better and better, and like in years from now, like I've been doing this for 4 years, 4.5, I don't know, for a long time. Like they're gonna be where I'm at and then like even better than I am probably, and that's fun to think about and I can't wait to see it happen.
Yeah, like scorpion, like goose liver. I've tried pretty much everything. I tried dog. Yeah. Yeah.
He's tried dog.
It wasn't that bad.
Dude, like as you're talking about this right behind you, no joke, there was a pit bull just sitting on the couch, like.
Just sitting. You're like, no, I'm like.
For my first time coming to the city, crazy story, I ended up meeting one of my football heroes, Barry Sanders, the first day I stepped into Detroit. Like I go get a hot dog at a American Coney and I'm like, is that Barry Sanders on a scooter outside? And I'm just like, no, that can't be him. So he's promoting these scooters that they have around the city. That he comes in and I'm like, hey, it's Barry Sanders, and I'm talking to him a little bit and telling him, you know, some of my favorite places for him. So I'm like, okay, this is where I need to be. Like, like it can't get.
It's a sign. Barry Sanders is the sign. Hi.
Hello.
I have faith in people to be amazing, shiny, happy, golden lights of wonderfulness.
I'm finding that my brain is stretching in other capacities. I can feel like it's using up more available glucose through the day, and I think that's cool. I think it's a good workout.
My name is Joe.
Joe what?
Joe Double.
Joe Double.
Yes.
That's a good programmer last name.
I know. It's actually my husband's last name.
Oh, okay.
I decided to take it when we
Yeah.
got married. But what's funny is like people will be like, "That's a great author name. You need to write a book." And I'm like,
Wait, why is it a good author name?
I don't know. What made me join the apprenticeship program? It would honestly be my husband. Because I saw, when we first moved out here to Detroit, I had started looking for a job, because when I lived in Seattle, I loved where I worked, loved the people I worked with, loved my boss, so I wanted that kind of same people first feeling. What I'm most looking forward to overall with the program? Just learning. I mean, I am one of those people that loves to learn. I can kind of stagnate and just be like, same thing over and over again, which is why I hated my last job, because it was very like push button. I love the fact that I'm learning stuff right now. I love the fact that Ford is so like heavily involved with like wanting great developers. They're just not like, send us whoever you got. Where I kind of feel like we're getting something where it's like, no, this is what Ford wants. And I love that.
I needed a career change, honestly, and before this I was doing graphic design, and in that field, like things were completely changing. As far as like what I learned in college really wasn't applying anymore. And I just wanted to be more relevant. I wanted to do something with my career that would be super important to me, and I could like go into work every day and be really happy with what I'm doing and feel like I'm actually making a difference. First week was not terrible in terms of difficulty. A lot of the first homework assignments were kind of concepts I was already familiar with. I studied those things for like the technical interviews. But then, yeah, I mean, like day 3 I think got a little more difficult for me because that's when things started getting a little newer and I was like, okay, I'm not as comfortable anymore.
Yeah, so pretty much customer service, property management. So I managed a storage facility for a few years, and then I went off and managed and did leasing for a few different apartments.
In Detroit?
Not in Detroit, in Ann Arbor, and then
Okay.
on the opposite end of the world in like Rochester Hills, Auburn
Oh,
Hills
okay.
area. Yeah, so completely far away from development, but it's pretty cool. Well, I mean, it was a great opportunity, and I kind of started learning some of this stuff on my own. And I'm like, this is a great way to just spearhead getting into the industry since I don't have a computer science background. And I know you can get into the field and be self-taught, but I kind of
Yeah.
wanted to expedite the process.
What are you most excited for?
The end. Not because it's difficult, but for the simple fact to be able to say I did this thing and look how far I've come. Because there were times like when I was self-learning, I'm like, this is no. My brain doesn't know. Just no. And to be able to reach that end and then for it to result in a full-time job with a major company here in Michigan, I mean, that's gonna be a great feeling. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Hi.
All right, see.
What is your name?
My name is KAREEM James.
So you're not from Detroit. Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm originally from the Antigua, West Indies, and I was raised in New York and lived most of my life inside of the Bronx, and now I'm going to be a resident of Detroit. I just moved here this week. So I was looking for places where I would like to maybe move, and I've seen some cool things happening in a bunch of cities. So it was like Detroit, Cleveland, Atlanta, Miami, and I was like, man, there's some really cool tech things going there. The scenes are really picking up, and people are looking for opportunities, talents, and they're looking to give people opportunities. So my professional background is in IT, so doing like corporate desktop support, break fix, software, things of that nature, printer support, things of that nature. I really was focusing on like small to medium-sized businesses and doing work for that, like barbershops, bodegas, things of that nature. Also leaving money on the table because they would be like, oh, we need a website, we need this, and since I didn't know how to do that type of work, I was like, I outsourced that type of work and was like, I'm leaving money on the table. Now it's time for me maybe to start learning these skills and kind of going from there. I fill out the application and I'm all excited and like, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not, but this may be a start to where I want to be and where I want to go and go to, places that are doing cool things.
Jordan BEGIAN.
It's okay.
I previously was doing IT support for 6 years, I would say.
What made you interested in programming?
The idea of being able to think logically and then also creating something, because I do like creating stuff.
So how did you hear about Detroit Labs and the apprenticeship program?
I heard of Detroit Labs through a friend of mine, and she let me know that there is an apprentice program that Detroit Labs offers, and after I was told about that, I kind of did some digging through social media, and I kind of was like, is this real? I should totally go for this. Told my friends about it, told my wife about it, told my family about it, and they're like, dude, go for it. I'm most excited to see how much I grow and develop from this, because I know that it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of self-reflection, but I do know that if you put in hard work, great things come out of it.
My name is Stokes.
What brings you to Detroit Labs?
I am here obviously for the opportunity, also to learn and grow and become a part of the tech community here in Detroit. Born and raised on the east side. I am a Detroit advocate, and my family was one of the people who was stuck in there in Detroit downfall, and I'm happy to see it come back up.
So what was that like?
I enjoyed it. I do remember when Detroit was kind of going down. Because I can go back to like my old childhood neighborhood, and I can remember when it was like a thriving middle class neighborhood. And if you go back to my childhood neighborhood. It's probably just like a few houses left on the block. But I've lived in the Midtown area since I was 19. Before this, I was a Genius Administrator at Apple.
Nice.
In Apple, before that, I worked in inventory. But I also worked at the Whole Foods down here in Detroit when it first opened. I worked there for 3 years as a customer service supervisor. Well, to me, this is crazy that I'm even here talking to you right now, because obviously, like, I went through like this phase where I wasn't really liking what I was doing. I was kind of like falling out of love with it. And it's not like one particular thing, like a multitude of things that happen. And so I was looking into getting into something else, and coding was something that I, like, even when I was younger, I kind of wanted to get into, but when I saw it, it was intimidating. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do that. And I was walking down Woodward, and I saw this sign for Grand Circus, this is a true story. And I was like, oh, they teach coding. And I was like, I should go home and I should look into that, because I would like to learn it and I'm serious about it. And I graduated from Grand Circus this past April, and now I'm here.
Were you in the Java boot camp?
I was in the front end boot camp.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm here. So to me, it's crazy that I could remember like this walk that I was having that was, to me, was like self-reflection, life-changing, and that like these things came true. I am probably most excited for giving back with my knowledge that I gained here. When I get finished with the apprenticeship, any kind of knowledge that I have, I would love to kind of like encourage and mentor the people that's going to be coming in, you know, after me, and help inspire people to get into it. Because I was definitely a person that felt like I wasn't smart enough or I wasn't good enough to do this, and I just kind of like put myself out there.
Well, I started my programming journey. I was teaching English in China for 3 years, and met a student out there who put me on the program, and then came back home and took a boot camp at Grand Circus, and a few years later found my way back at Detroit Labs. I've been hearing about them for a while, just got the opportunity to get in this time around. I liked it, but after I got over the culture shock of the culture differences that we dealt with, so it took me like 6 months to get comfortable with the differences in lifestyle and everything, but after that, you know, things were pretty smooth. One of my students insisted that I tried it. It's not super popular out there. They don't eat it every day, or most people don't eat it, but some folks do, depending on what part of China you're from. And I tried it. It's real chewy, but it doesn't taste that bad. I hate to say it, but it doesn't taste that bad.
I mean, do you know like what breed of dog it was?
Oh, no, I don't. Normally, from what I hear, they are mutts. I've been to like the market, to the butcher's market, where you'll see dogs hanging next to other meat, but they're normally skinned and like halfway cut up, so you can't tell.
What was the best thing you ate in China?
It's these sandwiches called rojamos. It's comes on like a piece of pita bread with some type of meat in there. Normally it's lamb or like beef. Really good.
Really good. What are you most excited about?
I guess progression through the course and like watching my skills grow, and eventually getting placed, getting the job at the finish line. I guess I'm just hoping to finish and move on to the next stage of life or next stage of the job.
Like, what made you interested in programming?
A few years ago, I had applied for apprenticeship before, and didn't really know I wanted to get into tech until I didn't get into the apprenticeship. It's kind of like I didn't know I wanted it until I didn't have it, kind of thing. So since then, I just started learning languages here and there, and then I took a boot camp. And like as halfway through that boot camp, saw that the apprenticeship was happening, and it was like for the same language that I was doing. It was starting like a month after I graduated, and I'm like, this would be perfect. So it just seemed like the stars aligned, and you know, it's like perfect. Longest time I worked in like the beauty industry. Yeah. So mostly in like the retail setting. So and just once I hit 30, I'm like, I'm gonna do something different now. My little brother is a computer science major, and he's been coding since he was like 13. So I've always like kind of been interested in like what he was doing. Then I'd like look and I'd be like, oh, never mind. Like you guys
I
gonna
don't
be
know
like
about
typing
this.
away, and I'm like, ooh, what is that? I'm most excited about learning from my peers in the apprenticeship. When we do like our homework reviews, like seeing how other people came to like the same solution, I'm just like, wow, I would have never thought of that. So like working together, like once we start really getting into it and like pair programming and stuff, it's going to be a really good opportunity to learn and kind of like think like other ways to approach a situation.
My name is MAHMOUD. I've been in the health field, so I've worked in quality improvement at hospitals. I've done research in brain development as of recently. Before that, I was a teacher for kindergartners. I used to work in research before I came here. A lot of it involved, if you wanted to get to a next level, you would have to know coding or like for data analytics or anything like that. So I felt like I was missing a big chunk of information, and so that's what drove me. I started taking a Python course, really liked it, and then I had a friend who told me about this program. I applied for it, and here I am. I come from the Bay Area.
Oh wow.
So I have so many friends who work in tech, and just and a lot of different friends who work for startups. You hear a lot of the good and the bad, but I think that Detroit Lab offers a very supportive environment that I haven't really seen anywhere else. Just in terms of like culture and community and things like that, Detroit Labs seemed like the place I wanted to be. I'm most excited about changing the way I think. This is something I've never done before, and the way that my brain is just constantly working and being challenged is the best part about it. I think I'm most excited about that. If you asked me when I first moved here, I would be like, take me back. Like today, take me back. But now, 3 years into living in Michigan and in the Midwest or whatever, I am very appreciative of like the cost of living. And I've met some very cool people here. I've never seen people, like Michiganders are so nice, like excessively nice. It's something that you don't find anywhere else.
Brian Barnes.
Went to Michigan State University, graduated there, thought I was going to go into the performing arts and work at big music festivals and kind of organize those. I ended up going out west and working on a ranch for a while in Wyoming, which led to some adventures, then coming back and being asked to join a band to tour in the US and Europe for a couple of years, so I did that. Did a bunch of odd jobs, trying to be, like an artist musician, worked at, washing dishes, worked at breweries, did a lot of customer service, worked as a fishmonger for a while, selling fish, graded applications for a business school, worked on assembly lines, kind of a bunch of stuff. And that kind of led me to, in my free time, doing coding.
It was actually through a friend of mine, so he started taking on the challenge of doing Code Academy online. And told me about it, and I kind of jumped on board, and then started creating basic websites for friends, and that was kind of how I kicked it off.
Which the apprenticeship is something I've kept my eye on for years. I've always wanted to be part of Detroit Lab, so when the opportunity came up, I jumped on it. Well, so far, I've been super impressed with like the kind of reception we've gotten from Detroit Labs and from Ford, but most of all, like the whole cohort, all the other apprentices in my class are super friendly, really smart. They're like, everybody's picking up things really quickly and helping each other out. It's a very open environment, so obviously, as you're going through a process like this, you fail a lot and you succeed a lot, but it's an open environment where you can do that and not have to worry too much whichever way you fall on the line. And so just excited to be part of it and see where everybody's at the end.